Chapter 4. Desire. The changes which take place in your life as a result of your changed concept of yourself always appear to the unenlightened to be the result not of a change of your consciousness, but of chance, outer cause, or coincidence. However, the only fate governing your life is the fate determined by your own concepts, your own assumptions. For an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. The ideal you seek and hope to attain will not manifest itself, will not be realized by you until you have imagined that you are already that ideal. There is no escape for you except by a radical psychological transformation of yourself, except by your assumption of the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Therefore, make results or accomplishments the crucial test of your ability to use your imagination. Everything depends on your attitude towards yourself. That which you will not affirm as true of yourself can never be realized by you, for that attitude alone is the necessary condition by which you realize your goal. All transformation is based upon suggestion, and this can work only where you lay yourself completely open to an influence. You must abandon yourself to your ideal as a woman abandons herself to love, for complete abandonment of self to it is the way to union with your ideal. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled until your assumption has all the sensory vividness of reality. You must imagine that you are already experiencing what you desire. That is, you must assume the feeling of the fulfillment of your desire until you are possessed by it, and this feeling crowds all other ideas out of your consciousness. The man who is not prepared for the conscious plunge into the assumption of the wish fulfilled, in the faith that it is the only way to the realization of his dream, is not yet ready to live consciously by the law of assumption. Although there is no doubt that he does live by the law of assumption unconsciously. But for you, who accept this principle and are ready to live by consciously assuming that your wish is already fulfilled, the adventure of life begins. To reach a higher level of being, you must assume a higher concept of yourself. If you will not imagine yourself as other than what you are, then you remain as you are. For if ye believe not that I am he, ye shall die in your sins. John 8:24. If you do not believe that you are he, the person that you want to be, then you remain as you are. Through the faithful systematic cultivation of the feeling of the wish fulfilled, desire becomes the promise of its own fulfillment. The assumption of the feeling of the wish fulfilled makes the future dream a present fact. The changes which take place in your life as a result of your changed concept of yourself always appear to the unenlightened to be the result not of a change of your consciousness, but of chance, outer cause, or coincidence. This really reminds me of the story of Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest men in history, son of a migrant who became a steel magnate, and people couldn't believe how quickly he accumulated such vast wealth, and the government even went so far as to investigate him, but they could find no wrongdoing. And when asked, what his secret was, he said it was simple. It was the fact that he could concentrate on a subject for 5 minutes at a time. Just think about that. That's it. He could concentrate on one subject for 5 minutes at a time. Now, most of us suffer from what Buddhism refers to as monkey mind. The mind is like full of hundreds of chattering monkeys pulling you in multiple different directions. Is it hot today? Am I hungry? I've got to do this, I've got to do that. It's just an endless list of things that are constantly cycling along and around in your mind. And when you're thinking about multiple things like that, your energy is going in multiple directions, and its power is being diluted, and your energy reserves are being diluted. If you can actually cut the chatter down and focus on one thing at a time, all your energy is going into it. That's a really powerful thing to consider. I was very much dominated by the monkey mind. It used to drive me absolutely crazy, but through learning to meditate, I actually managed to suppress the monkey mind where these rampant thoughts, one after the other, actually just stopped. So I really think meditation is a great tool that we can make use of to help us build up that ability to concentrate on something for more than a few seconds. But this whole chapter about desire says it all. There has to be motivation. People get comfortable with life, even if they think doing something different could actually improve their life. Most people are hesitant to, because they fear change, and our subconscious mind is programmed to keep us alive. Any change is perceived as a threat, even though it might lead to something positive. Right now you're living in a status quo and you're safe. A move away from the status quo is considered perceived dangerous, a level of threat. Therefore, to actually move beyond where you are at any given moment, to break the status quo, it requires desire. You need to overcome the boundaries, the limiting beliefs that are going to want you to stay where you are despite the promise of a better life. You get past those boundaries by desire, by staying focused. Visualizing every night and every morning is going to improve my life. Taking time throughout the day to meditate, visualize, using affirmations, it is all going to improve my life. Best way I could sort of put it is, when a child learns to ride a bike, there's a learning process. Learning the mechanics, the balance. It doesn't happen overnight. It is a process. But at some point, everything just clicks and the child can now ride a bike, and it becomes habitual. They stop thinking about it. The subconscious mind is in charge. It's now habitual. It's the same with any new thing. If first time you light a cigarette, you're not hooked. You're not an addict. It's just a one-off thing. It's an occurrence, one-off occurrence. You've had a cigarette. Have 2 cigarettes. It's still not a big deal. But once you've done it repeatedly, the subconscious mind takes control, and then that's it. It's a habit. It's the same when you're learning any new skill. Maybe you've taken up photography, learning to edit videos, learning to drive a car. All these things, it requires a conscious awareness of what you're doing, learning every new step. But at some point, when you've got it all down, it then just becomes habitual. You stop thinking about it, the subconscious takes over. And this is what we need to do. We need to wake up, visualize, do affirmations throughout the day, visualizations, do it at night. And sooner or later, it will become habitual. And that's when what Neville says here comes into effect. That is, you must assume the feeling of the fulfillment of your desire until you are possessed by it. And this feeling crowds all other ideas out of your consciousness. You will get to that stage. Through repeated action, it will become your dominant thought. At the start, it might be just, I'd like to change my life, I'd like to try this law of attraction, and it's uncomfortable, you're doing something different. Your subconscious mind will look for all types of excuses to stop you from doing it. But eventually, through perseverance, the subconscious mind will accept it, and then it will become habitual. That's what we want to happen. You've got to take that conscious plunge into the assumption of the wish fulfilled.